We're getting into how to create content your dream customer wants to see, because we have now identified who you are going to be marketing to. You have now discovered the gap in the market. You now know and feel confident that the stuff you're creating is for one person, your nucleus, so therefore you could be attracting your electrons and your neutrons, and you're okay with that. So it is really important for you to understand the relationship between you, the content creator, and what you're like, no, Jasmine, I'm a business owner. Yes, but you are also your own marketing machine until you get your own marketing department. So you have to think like a business owner and then think like the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer of your business. So there is a relationship between you, Chief Marketer of your business, and your customer. And then you have to say, what do they want to see? Because when you create what they want to see, they're going to be more likely to engage because people engage with stuff that resonates with them. So in order for us to know what they want to see, we have to start curating our photos. So what I'm going to show you right now is a video of me working with Indigo Tide Market about what should be included in a branding photo shoot. Do I think that everybody in this room will get a branding photo shoot? No. Do I think everybody should get a branding photo shoot? And the answer is yes. And I don't say that as a photographer. I say that as a content curator. I say that as a maker. I say that as a business owner. Because what happens back in the day where people are like, oh, I could just market myself. Well, yes, you can, but the easiest way to stick out in a saturated market is to speak to somebody with specificity, to find the gap in the market, and then to create content that people are like, this is so pretty. I want to see more of this, and that belongs to you. So I'm going to show you a video of us choosing props for a branded photo shoot for Indigo Tide Market right about now. Now that we know we are targeting Chrissy, and now that we know we are targeting Lacey, I am going to show from a visual perspective how we can take a singular location and tailor make it for each business, and how we're going to be working basically with like the same backgrounds, the same collateral, and make nuanced differences to showcase how it could show up uniquely on each of your feeds. So now that we know going into the shoot who we're targeting, visually what we want, and how to connect with them, our next objective would be to look through some of your props. Because now we have to measure it of where your brand visually is and measure that against where your customer is. And if they align, it's easy, included. If we think it's like on the periphery, let's hone it all in, get us on the same page, and I think we'll be able to curate cleaner feeds visually.
All right.
How you guys feel? Okay, good. Any questions?
Anxious to see your perspective on these props.
Okay, and you know what? It's not about my perspective.
No,
whose perspective is it about? Lacey. What is Lacey gonna say? This is why. This is like not even about you or me. Yeah. It's about our customer. So I stink and love it. So what we'll do, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you guys have bigger props.
Well, we brought some smaller stuff, so we do
have a lot of small. It just takes. It took huge suitcases.
Okay, and I love how you guys roll. You guys are full of your brand. It's like two bright blonde hair girls going through the airport with like fluorescent bags. I mean, like 8 of them or 12, whatever. You guys roll deep.
Being on brand, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you guys definitely get noticed. You guys are walking marketing material. Let's start with Caitlin.
Okay.
So we're going to clear out some of this stuff. We'll bring it here, and then for the smaller props, because I don't need to go through every single prop. What I want to do is kind of be like, okay, now that we kind of set the theme, the mood, then we can move from there.
Props,
and you guys have an inflatable chair.
We do.
So we need time to blow that up.
No air. We don't know if the air pump came or not, so we'll see. It may not be using
Okay, this is great. This is great. This is like a reality television show. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know what props are going to make it. Caitlin, this looks really, really, really good. I'm looking from a visual perspective that I feel like I have a better understanding of your aesthetic. Now, based on what we know, we gave Chrissy an age. Mm-hmm. So now we start honing in what a 35-year-old would want to see and feel inspired and motivated. And because I'm a photographer, in the future when you start collaborating and doing photo shoots on your own, it'll be like a joint venture for the photographer to give feedback. Okay. What I'm seeing here are two distinct personalities. You saw it too.
Yep.
So point to me the juxtaposition between one personality and another personality. Like what would identify Chrissy without a doubt, and what could possibly not identify with Chrissy?
I would probably say like Chrissy being more like more professional, like this kind of stuff right here, and then not so much would be probably the bright colored things and the.
Okay, I don't even have to break that down. But for people who are interested in understanding how we got here, was we went through our ideal client workbook exercise, and now we know, okay, she's 35, she's a professional into skincare. What is she gonna find appealing? She is, in her heart, all of this is gonna be appealing. What does she wanna see from a business perspective to say, I'm gonna trust Caitlin? It will likely be less of this, dreams, demand, and hustle. This exact workbook could totally work if this was kind of mint green, baby blue, beige with gold, less pink and iridescent. This to me is a 30-year-old version of Chrissy. The rose gold accents are the 35-year-old version of her trying to take her skincare line to the next level.
Okay.
So looking at these props, I always think less is more.
Okay.
And so as we're laying out, we're going to have you doing what you do now. You're going to be working in a workbook. So all we have to do is select a workbook that Chrissy would find appealing. So we probably would omit this one. Now, I love this one. I think it's great. I think it's fabulous. You're not going to push somebody away, but you may not attract them.
Okay.
So we're going to start segmenting certain items that we think would polarize.
Okay.
And I think that this, because it's like a light pink, perhaps we could try it. We're still gonna stay within the palette.
Okay.
It's something like maybe like weekending.
Okay.
This ice cream, I feel like it's super cute. And this is like a halfway, like maybe we can use it as styling. So I'm gonna start segmenting. Now, the little bit of your branding that I have seen so far, you, if I'm not mistaken, you say like, we'll give you a map to get there, or we'll give you
mapping out your next sale.
Good. So prior to us getting here, I was like, can you bring things that are related to maps? So if a map became like a break in your visual feed on Instagram and or on Facebook, I think you did a fantastic job getting stuff that is a map that is a little bit muted, slightly vintage. I just think that it's going to work extraordinarily well. So I could start segmenting mapping and color coding here. Now this one is on the bright side, and so if we were just to open it up, get something a little bit smaller.
Okay.
And then we start placing items like this cactus next to it.
That makes more
So we're starting to see where the storyboard is going. And then we have these beautiful shells. Like right here, we can just get like a nice rose gold pen, lay it there, and it's just like mapping out your next sale. And this would just be breaks in between your visual feed and aesthetic. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to say, every time I hold up an item, say yes, like Chrissy would like that. So.
No.
I think yes. I think yes. And here's why. So we have to, this is great. This is great. This is great. This is great. I think yes, because is it going to be like the handkerchief? Is it chief or chiff? I don't care. The hanky. The hanky itself, no. The hanky with washi tape, pen, and like an iPad to hearken present day and past tense, like yes. So that is why I say yes.
I feel like that's where the disconnect is.
How do you mean?
The disconnect, like I like all of it, which is not me though. Like that's not my client. So like figuring out like how to get myself out of the picture and just get her in the picture, because I want her, because she's gonna be the one that's gonna want to spend the money on that. Whereas I'm like DIY it all, like do it yourself.
Got it.
So like trying to figure out like how do you take yourself out of the picture.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that. Like that light bulb, like you are not going to know how much that is going to empower you when you go home and start making those decisions on your own. So to me, I start segmenting things that would appeal to somebody building a lifestyle business brand for skincare. And then I divide it out between business and casual. I think that these color palettes, like just look at these colors, like the maps and the straws, like putting this in a mason jar, like a series of mason jars, like how are you starting your weekend? Like super, super, super cute, conversational. I like the maps that you brought. I like these tags because this is like a nod to like sales, and then they're blank. And so what we could do is we can lay these out, and then you can put text on them in Canva and Photoshop and create stuff like that. I know I saw you like that. Okay, good. Glasses. I like this right here already. I can kind of see just styling it out a little bit like this, something else, and then we'll talk about like who inspired you. And you could talk about somebody, does this derive from your mom, your grandma, and auntie, somebody who went before you and inspired your path. So I kind of feel like these brighter colors we're gonna keep as a maybe. Maybe like weekend stuff. This is muted. I love this color palette. I love the postcards that you brought. I love the macaroons and the donuts. It still stays within the color palette. I think that works. This to me is a maybe. I think it's cute. cute, but we're gonna see.
Okay.
Printed stuff like quotes do really well on Instagram,
Okay.
so we'll kind of play with it. I'd rather shoot it to give you options and kind of be like, it's on the tertiary of your brand, but we can still kind of keep it. I love all the washi tape. I love just like already we could see this coming together, like that right there. So you as well as attractive to your client. I think that this is on brand. I like the gold kind of, yeah. It's like an iridescent. We can maybe see how this works in regards to shipping and packaging. I love the clipboard.
Okay.
So we've basically pulled out a lot of like the bright. I'm probably gonna remove, yes. Even though it does remind me of Lisa Frank. I mean, who doesn't love Lisa Frank? This is like the elevated Lisa Frank, but we're gonna put it on hold because I don't know if Chrissy will find that necessarily appealing. So what we just did is we shaved off a little bit of stuff, but now we look at this and we can say, we have a color palette that's gonna work really well as we interpose your branding lifestyle photos with what we call lifestyle stock photography.
All right.
Cool.
Okay, so really quickly, we went through, and when, not if, because I want everybody here to set up a branding shoot, is when you do that, you are going to take a list of props to, you're gonna take props to your shoot. And then, if you're working with a really great photographer, and if they have not seen this course on Creative Live, send it to them. Say, you should check this out. Because it's going to be a collaborative effort. You as a business owner, your job isn't to know how to properly source all your props. That is why you hire a creative professional to help you synergize that. And so I know that there's some people in this room to be like, I don't really think that that's necessary for me. But if you are a makeup artist, you can take your you could take your goods and have a photographer shoot them and then say, this is going to be the summer palette. If you're getting married in the Pacific Northwest, these blushes work great in June. How do you combine between a lighter shade of skin and a darker shade of skin? How could you use the same palette in 3 different ways? You're creating content for people to use and share. And then when you actually see a photographer doing it, you then can go and do it on yourself. Like you see how a photographer lays out a palette, then when you go to a wedding and say, today's palette, she's a funky bride, she wants to do turquoise eyeliner, color palettes, blah, 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 blah. Take a picture of the bride, swipe to another photo, then you have the details and people are like, oh, she's sharing all of her stuff. And when you share all your stuff, you tag the businesses, the companies, like the makeup companies, so that they have then content to share. We are creating content after being taught how to use and see content from a photographer's perspective. So, Caitlin is attracting a high-end consumer, and she is a service-based business. You saw me choose props on a service-based business. Now what you're gonna see me do in a shorter capacity, because we already went through the motions, now you know the psychology of it, a little shorter video to see how we're going to be choosing props for a product-based business. Because I wanna make it very clear, you could hire, if you have a product business, you could and should hire a product-based photographer to shoot your stuff. That looks great on a website, it looks great for like Amazon listings, but is there a way with a lifestyle photographer to incorporate your products in a lifestyle way that could be shared on social? Because let me tell you, you post a picture of your product on a white background on Instagram, You post a product of somebody using it in a lifestyle way, then that becomes the shareable component. Let's get into that video right about now.
Okay, so I look at this whole setup and I feel like you have given a very clear idea of who you're attracting. I feel like, but let's be real, you guys were off camera. Oh, you guys are off camera being like, oh, let's get a little bit more of this, a little bit less than this. So that's great because it shows how quick as entrepreneurs you guys can adapt. So you learn a little something and then you hone it in, which is super helpful. So this is what you guys are doing. This is Caitlin led the way. You guys are gonna be following her right behind. And then people who are watching online can quickly start connecting the dots. So now what we're looking at is a very clear palette. Like we look at this and I can see the Lacey you're trying to attract. Lacey likes color. Lacey likes the idea of vacation. She likes the idea of having a good time. She loves the idea of personalizing things for her children and making them feel special. Lacey's fun. Yes. That is what I see here. Lacey is fun. She's not perfect, but she's just really proud of the family. Oh, I'm not perfect, but my home is. Okay, I love that. That was like as if we just planned it. Yes. So what we have here is we are going to be incorporating a few of these elements. So a shout out, I see that you guys have your customizable bags. Yes. This would be great. So I am not shooting this bag to attract another entrepreneur the way that we had with Caitlin, right? Caitlin's trying to create content that's going to attract entrepreneurs. Yeah. Slightly different when we're trying to attract moms. Yes. So we're going to try to do a lot more with your props instead of having standard lay flats, although we will shoot that, having a child hold a bag or a mom putting like an item in the bag and then handing it over to her son or daughter is going to be more or less how we're going to be incorporating your props. So definitely more of like a lifestyle spin to how we're setting props up. But even if, I kind of like this color. So
because some stuff you'll shoot with product and some stuff will not be. Some content is
and that
not
could be more
product.
like a teenager versus a toddler with his mom handing, because that.
Okay, so I love this conversation because you said that this Hannah bag, personalized Hannah bag, could be for a teenager. Yes. And what I saw is, because I do follow some mommy bloggers on Instagram, they just know what's up. They look for airplane bags for their kids. To me, you can do like 14-year-old Hannah needs like a school bag that's personalized, but also 4-year-old Hannah who's going on her first airplane trip. So I would style, look at how we can just bring this together.
Oh yeah. Perfect.
Already. And then we have a luggage tag. And we have different colors, and I would just shoot this as an aerial. No, that's roses. We'll figure out something else here to balance out. So there's a little bit of a gap here. Maybe if we shoot a little sunglasses or Polaroid pictures, pile here, and then what we just turn this into is a lay flat for Instagram that's product based but highly specified for the 4-year-old. Like, hey moms, what do you do on that 2-hour flight? You fill her Hannah bag with crayons, with a coloring book, with her favorite snacks, and nothing makes her more excited to go on a trip to Disney World.
Yeah, perfect.
So we're creating educational content that is highlighting the products that you guys are selling.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So that's going to be the slight difference between how I'm going to be photographing these things. Instead of like lay flats, we're going to do lay flats with the direction of educating Lacey. Cool. Everything else I think works really well, and I like the fact that you guys are pulling quote graphics. So this card says mama knows best even when she's a new mama. You guys are clearly going after a demo, and whenever we can like reiterate the things that they think about themselves in a visual perspective, the more likely they are going to be to trust you. Because when you can vocalize her identity, she says, you know me. And when she feels like you know her, she's going to choose your personalized products versus anybody else's on the internet. So that's what this photo shoot really needs to hone in on. But overall, everything you pulled, I get it, I want it, I can't wait to shoot it. So we're good.
Awesome.
Great.